Well, January was quiet, but honestly, that shouldn't surprise anyone. January tends to be one of the slowest months of the year for real estate outside of December, with holiday hangovers, the polar vortex dumping 6 meters of snow on us, and buyer hesitation rolling in from 2025, the market was a bit slow. If you're feeling unsure where the market's heading, you're not alone. My job is to replace chaos with clarity. So skip ahead for my tailored advice if you're planning a move in 2026, and if you're into the numbers, stick around for the breakdown. In January, 271 homes sold across Waterloo Region, down 21.3% compared to last year. That's a noticeable drop since 2025, and buyer confidence is still in limbo. Some of it's rebuilding, some people are still sitting on the sidelines, but I expect this hesitancy is going to roll into 2026. Here's how things broke down. 167 single-family homes sold, down just over 11% compared to last year. 19 semis, down just under 10%. 57 townhomes, down almost 30%. And 27 condos, down almost 31%. The sharper slowdown continues to be in condo-style housing, where investor appetite is gone. Affordability pressures and higher supply are still influencing buyer decisions. The average sale price across all residential properties in Waterloo Region in January came in at just over $734,000. That's down almost 3% compared to last year. Breaking that down by segment, single-family homes averaged $862,239, down 2.3% year over year. Semis hovered just under $629,000, basically the same as last year. Townhomes hovered just above $553,000, up actually 12% year over year. So last January was a bit softer for townhomes. Condos averaged $416,704, down almost 12% year over year. Prices aren't necessarily spiraling out of control, but there definitely is a downward trend line, especially in the condo and attached market, where, in my opinion, a lot of that market was propagated and inflated by the investor segment of the smartest guy buying something and trying to sell it for a profit a year or two later, speculating on that historic 5 or 10% increase year over year. That ship has sailed. So that's why that segment's a lot more saturated, a lot slower, a lot more months of inventory. Detached homes are still experiencing a downward trend. As we look at the trend lines, there is, of course, more appetite for detached homes versus condos, but it's not easy out there. A lot of detached homes are overpriced. There's weak agents, overlisting properties, sellers that are unreasonable, not looking at the market for what it is, shooting for a 10% margin on the reality and chasing the market down as the market's in a downward trend. So it's creating a lot of confusion. If you're selling right now, you might be looking at realtor.ca, House Sigma, whatever, and you're looking at homes that are comparable to your home or inferior, and they're priced at a high sticker price, and you think that your place is now worth more. And the reality is, it's a monkey see, monkey do. There's a lot of froth on the market. What's actually selling, they're selling for a lot less, 100K less, 200K less, 500K less, depending on what price point we're looking at. If we're in the $2 million, $3 million mark, there's a lot of price reductions. If we're in the $1 million to $1.5 million mark, there's homes hitting for 1.4 and then selling for 1.1. 6 months, 8 months, 10 months later, going through multiple agents. You need to have someone in your corner right now that can tell you how it is. Don't put froth on it. I'm an optimistic person, but I'm also a realist. This is about getting the job done. If you want to sell, this is where you need to list it at. This is what you need to do to prepare, and let's hit the ground running with the right strategy. If you want to wait on your price, you're going to be waiting for a while, and ultimately you're just going to be hurting yourself and frustrating yourself along the way. Inventory remains a big part of the story as we head into 2026, and here's the headline. New listings jumped 100% month over month. This is a sensationalized headline. Inventory falls off at the end of the year. Historically, there's always low level of listings in December. Once we get into January, then people start getting back to reality. Listings start coming up to a higher level, and then leading into the spring market where the peak inventory will happen in probably April, May, June. By the end of January, there is 1,265 active listings across Waterloo Region. That's up about 2.5% compared to last year, which translates to a 2.5 month supply of homes, meaning buyers have had more choice and more leverage than they did a year ago. And as supply remains elevated, homes are taking longer to sell. The average home took 45 days to sell in January. That's up 32.4% year over year. So it's taking about a third longer to sell a home. This is not a fast market anymore. Buyers are reluctant, buyers have more time, they have more leverage. Sellers need to have the right price, the right plan, be more patient. It's not 2022 and things will be all right. If you pick the wrong lane when you're starting out, you're gonna fall off a cliff and it's gonna be painful. Okay, if you're selling in this market, do you sell now? Do you wait till the summer? Do you wait till the spring? Do you wait till the fall? Nobody has a crystal ball. Now, historically, at the beginning of the year, there are less homes for sale. So if you're having to sell your home now, the buyers that are in the market right now, although there are less of them, they have limited selection, relatively speaking. The inventory levels are very high, as I said, but relatively to what's gonna happen in the next month, 2 months, we're gonna have a huge influx of inventory. Inventory is gonna jump 50 to 70% in the next 3 months. Once we get into the summer, things are gonna flatline. We're gonna be at quite different levels of inventory. Yes, there will be more buyers, but you're gonna be competing with more of your neighbors or comparable homes in the neighborhood or in other neighborhoods that buyers have the option to purchase. Those might be on different continuums. They might be on the market for 3 months. They might be more motivated than you, etc. So if you list sooner, you're gonna have more leverage. Yes, your yard's not gonna be as pretty with 10 feet of snow. Yes, it's gonna be cold. Yes, your foyer is gonna be muddy from showings. Put out a floor mat, but you have a little bit more control because you're not competing with as many people. You can't control the market. You can only control the variables in terms of timing. How does your home show? How's it presented? What's the marketing? And what are the inventory levels like? You're jumping in and you know, hey, it's relatively lower now than it's gonna be in 2 months from now when you're gonna be in a more competitive scenario. 3 pricing strategies you're gonna see in the market right now. And this is the same in any market. You're gonna see at the top, overpriced, unrealistic, pie in the sky pricing. Typically that happens in one of 2 or 3 reasons. An unprofessional, unrealistic, desperate agent that's telling you what you want to hear, getting your listing and worrying about the price later. Unfortunately, this does happen. Business is lower, business is slimmer. People are more eager to take on listings that aren't realistic. And ultimately, you need someone that will give you a clear and concise and reality check in this market where you can actually make real moves. So overpriced, unrealistic. Then in the middle, we're gonna have homes that are priced close to market value based on what's selling, okay? Everybody thinks their house is worth more than it is. Everybody thinks their house is nicer than the neighbor's house, and that neighbor thinks that their house is nicer than your house. So the reality is the buyers are looking at your house, their house, and another 10 houses, and they don't really care. They're not tied into your memories, and not to be cold about this, but that's just the reality of the market, especially when there's more inventory. Buyers become more reluctant. There's paralysis through analysis, a lot of paradox of choice happening. So you have to be priced right on the money. You're gonna sell on average in 45 days. I think if you're priced right out of the gate, you're selling in 3 to 4 weeks in this market. Again, depending on price points, depending on condo versus a luxury property, but you're somewhere in that 30-day to 45-day mark. Then 80%, I'm paraphrasing here, but about 80%, 4 out of 5 homes that we sold, that I sold last year, we sold using a multiple offer strategy. We look at the value of the property, the market value that's realistic, not pie in the sky, and we're not doing math off of imaginary numbers. We're looking at, okay, a home is worth $700,000, a home is worth $800,000, let's say, and we're underpricing the home by 10 or 20%. Intentionally, it's a very low number. You're gonna get queasy, but you don't need to sell your home for that low number. And because you have a low sticker price, it doesn't mean your home is worth less. The goal is to draw in a ton of attention, a ton of interest, a ton of momentum. We hold an offer date. There's one day where people submit their offer. There's multiple offers. You have the right person in your corner negotiating. I learned negotiations from the former FBI head of hostage negotiations, Mr. Chris Voss. The guy's a beast. He negotiated with terrorists for people's lives. So if you have the right plan and the right person in your corner and the right approach, you're gonna have a better result. And if you have a weak negotiator, you're gonna leave money on the table and you're not gonna be happy, and that strategy is gonna bomb. Alternatively, if you are gonna price that $800,000 home and you think that it's actually worth $900,000 and you're working off of that figure to underprice and you're pricing the home for multiple offers, the home's priced too high out of the gate. You're not gonna get the interest and excitement and urgency from buyers to get in to see your home. You're not gonna get enough showings. You're not gonna get enough offers. You're gonna bomb. You're gonna cancel the listing. You're gonna overprice your home, and you're gonna be on the market for 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, frustrated with the whole process, with your agent, etc. So pick your lane, folks. This is not the market for the weak. You gotta be serious, and if you wanna sell, you gotta play by the rules that are in the market right now. When the market swings, if it gets into a more hotter market, then you're gonna have a little bit more leverage. But at this point, it's balanced and it's leaning into the buyer's direction. Buyers, you have the luxury of options. Although at the beginning of the year, there's less of them. You're gonna have more listings hitting the market as we speak. Inventory levels are slowly creeping up. I expect inventory levels will be peaking out in April and May as it's the full-blown spring market. So if you're not in a rush, take your time. If you have to buy now, then you have to be very diligent with your approach to this. Don't just jump in and overpay for a home just because it's the only option. If you're under the gun, you're under the gun, then you don't have that leverage in your favor. The best leverage you have is the person least wanting to do the deal or least having to do the deal has and holds the leverage. So if you're more loose, you're renting, you're living at your parents' place, whatever, then you can be more relaxed. You don't need to rush into the market. Take your time. And if you don't need to buy, then don't buy. Just rent, ride it out. There's nobody here on this channel forcing anybody to buy. People generally have the hopes of owning a home, and it's been very difficult for a lot of folks that are on the younger end. The average first-time home buyer is hovering close to 40 years old, believe it or not. So it is the Canadian dream to own a home, but don't let anybody force you into jumping in and saying, oh, now's the time. Now's the time if it's the time for you. If you're gonna buy a home and you're gonna own a home for 20 years, if you buy it today or if you buy it in 2 years, you're living and enjoying that home, you're gonna have it for 20 years. So if now's the time, now's the time. If it's not the time, then rent. Yes, you're gonna pay rent. Yes, you're gonna waste money, but you're also gonna save. You can save. It costs more to own a home than it is to rent a home right now, for comparison's sake. So if you're a diligent saver, you can rent and save your money and wait for the right opportunity. But if you're bad at saving, maybe it makes sense to get into a home. But ultimately, you need to make that decision for yourself. Folks, it's been great. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll see you next month. Take care. Peace out.